are in a focal point, not architecturally, although that used to be the way they did it, ancient churches, but we're not talking about architecture. We're talking about the message and the preoccupation and the worship. So a church is a gathering of people who don't come together to be entertained, to get a slice of the world that's sort of moderated and sanctified a little bit. They come together to look at the cross and celebrate it and the resurrection. All right, number 5, in just, again, kind of giving you some kind of a structure for understanding the church. The church is a gathering of people who understand a great conflict exists. Peter takes Jesus aside in verse 22, and here's where the conflict is demonstrated. Peter takes Jesus aside, and he rebukes him. Boy, that is pretty bold stuff. We know Peter was the apostle with the foot-shaped mouth. He was very good at saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. But to call Jesus aside, come over here a minute, I need to talk to you, and then rebuke him, I mean, that is really brash. He says, God forbid it, Lord. You got this all wrong. You're not going to die. This shall never happen to you. This is not a suggestion, by the way. This is a bold, demanding rebuke of the Son of God. Not going to happen in the strongest language possible. No, 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 Lord. No. I forbid this. That's when a little power has gone to your head. Wow, what are you? You're just a loudmouth fisherman. Get back in line. He turned in verse 23 and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. Wow. Take that, Peter. Anything said by, advocated by anyone in the church that goes against the will of the Lord of the church is taking Satan's side. Okay? I'm afraid that if the Lord were here today, He might be saying that a lot to people who are part of His called. You've taken up Satan's side. You've taken up Satan's cause. Anything contrary to the will of God, anything contrary to the purpose of God, places you on Satan's side. Now, it doesn't mean that Satan had taken over Peter. All it simply means is you've identified yourself with Satan. You've sided with the one who opposes God. Satan doesn't want the Son of God to go to the cross. He knows the meaning of that. You're a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's interests, but man's. You're hindering my work. What a frightening idea that is. Get out of my way. Do not take Satan's side. Now, this is important. It is foundational to the life of the church to confront everything that works against the purpose of God, to confront everything that works against the plan of God. This is the gathering of the redeemed for worship. Unbelievers can come and listen, as in 1 Corinthians, and be in awe and say, God is in this place. But we don't do this for them. We welcome them to see a worshiping people. Now, God demonstrated how He felt about that by saying, put them out of the church. And the illustration that's most dramatic is in the 5th chapter of Acts, when Ananias and Sapphira brought sin in the church, and He executed both of them in front of the whole church while the church was gathered on a Sunday. They fell dead. The epistles of Paul and the other New Testament writers are just loaded with warnings to the church. Get rid of false teachers. Get rid of those who pollute. So it is a foundational thing for the church that the church fights against and opposes anything that goes against the will of God. Whether it's unsound doctrine, false teaching, iniquity, sin, anything that comes against the will of God. The church needs to be as much like heaven on earth as it can be. You pray that, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Where's that going to happen? What's the kingdom in heaven? Well, God is honored, God is glorified, Christ is exalted, holiness dominates, and everyone is in praise to God. That's what the church should be on earth. Let that happen on earth. That means the church has to be at war. It has to be in an unending conflict with anything that runs against the will of God. So we're not sitting around trying to figure out how much of the world we can get in. We're trying to do everything we can to keep it out, while at the same time welcoming those who want to see and experience a worshiping people. So this is a true church. Let me give you two more things that characterize the church. A great contradiction. A great contradiction. You know, if you listen to preachers today, the popular preachers, you know, the ones that have the monstrous crowds, their message is this: Jesus wants to make you healthy, wealthy, happy, just over the top. You can create your reality. You can have it all. You know what they say. You hear them. There are many. There are more than one could even count. That is contrary to what the church really offers. Listen to this. Go to verse 24. Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must what? There's the end of that movement. That's it. It's over. Deny himself. Take up his cross. Follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole what? World. If you get all the health and all the wealth and all the prosperity and every dream you've ever had came true, so what? If you get all that and forfeit your soul, what will a man give in exchange for a soul? I wonder if the crowd would be so big if the preacher said, I want to ask you all to do something. I want you to deny yourself. Everything you've ever dreamed, everything you've ever hoped for, everything you've ever desired, everything you've ever wanted, every ambition you've ever had, I want you to deny all of that and submit yourself as if you were dead to the sovereign lordship of Jesus Christ as his slave, and bow the knee to him and ask him to do in your